Something interesting happened recently. For the first time in history, anyone can sit down, open an AI tool, and get brilliant ideas in seconds. Not just random listicle fluff, genuinely clever creative concepts. And that's a little scary, isn't it? Because if everyone suddenly has access to brilliant ideas, then ideas alone don't set you apart anymore. The real challenge now is different. It's knowing which of those ideas is worth chasing, and actually having the courage to bring it into reality. That's what I want to dive into in this video. Not just how to generate ideas with AI, but how to take one idea, pressure test it, expand it into a plan, and execute it until it becomes unstoppable. You know, the funny thing is, having too many ideas used to be a rare problem. Most people struggle just to come up with one. Now with AI, it's like turning on a fire hose. It's gotten really good at ideas. You can ask it for business concepts, marketing angles, even creative projects, and a lot of what it gives you back is genuinely solid. And at first, that feels amazing. You are never stuck. You are never staring at a blank page. But then a different problem sneaks in. Now you are swimming in too many good ideas. Which one do you choose? Which one's worth your time, your energy, your money? That's where most people get stuck. Not because they don't have ideas, but because they don't know how to tell the difference between an idea that looks good on paper and an idea that can actually change something in the real world. The winners aren't the ones with the biggest idea list anymore. They're the ones who can spot the idea that has the potential to become unstoppable. So let's say you've got this huge list of ideas from AI. They are all pretty good, but here's the question. How do you figure out which one is truly worth chasing? This is where your taste becomes the filter. AI can give you a buffet, but only you can decide what's worth putting on your plate. I like to use 3 simple checks. First, the pattern check. Ask yourself, does this sound like something I've seen 100 times already? If it feels too familiar, I chose it. Second, the taste test. Forget whether it looks clever. Does it actually excite you? Do you feel that little spark of I want to do this? If not, it's not worth your energy. Third, the edge factor. Will this idea surprise people, polarize them, make them stop scrolling? If it feels a little uncomfortable, that's really a good sign. And here's the insight most people miss. AI can generate ideas, but your taste, the way you filter, refine, and notice what stands out, that's what makes an idea exclusive. 2 people can use the exact same AI prompt, but one walks away with something generic, and the other walks away with something that feels one of a kind. The difference is not the 2, it's you. Okay, so you filtered and landed on one idea that feels unique. That's a huge step. But here's where most people stop. They say, this sounds cool, let's do it, and rush straight into execution. But I've learned a smarter move is to pressure test their idea first. Almost like stress testing a bridge before cars drive across it. First, play devil's advocate. Ask her AI, why would this idea fail? You'll be surprised how many weak spots get exposed right away. Second, run a quick market check. Who else is already doing something similar? What's missing in their approach that you could feel? Third, scenario mapping. Ask yourself if this actually scales, what happens? Does it hold up? Does it need more resources than you can handle? And the point isn't to kill your idea, it's to make it stronger, because if your idea can survive this little stress test, then you know it's worth building on. This is the moment where an idea shifts from sounds good to this could actually work. So now you've got an idea that feels unique and it passed the pressure test. The next step is to expand it, turn it from just a spark into an actual plan. Here's how I like to do it. First, break it into milestones. What's the very first step? Then what comes next? Don't think of it as a giant leap, think of it as a staircase. Second, define the resources and skills you will need. Maybe you need design help, maybe you need research, maybe you need marketing support. Laying it out early saves you from hitting walls later. Third, find the shortcuts AI can give you. Drafts, research, mockups, even first versions of your content. Let the 2 carry some of the weight, so you can stay focused on strategy. For example, say your idea is to launch a niche newsletter. Here's how it might look as a plan. Define your exact audience. Use AI to draft your first 10 issues. Set up a simple opt-in page. Build a growth plan around community or collaborations. Notice how the idea stops being this vague newsletter and starts becoming a roadmap you could actually follow tomorrow. Because that's the key. A good idea is fragile until you give it structure. A plan is what makes it durable. Alright, so you've got your plan. But here's the uncomfortable truth. This is where most people fail. Not at the idea stage, not even at the planning stage, but at execution. Because execution is messy. It's not as fun as brainstorming. It takes patience, consistency, and a willingness to refine. This is where AI can become your best ally, if you use it the right way. Let it generate your first drafts, whether that's copy, content, or mockups. Let it take care of the small, repetitive tasks that normally slow you down. Emails, templates, outlines. Let it keep momentum alive so you don't stall out on the little stuff. But here's the catch. AI can't decide for you. It can't tell you which version is worth publishing. That's your role. Bring judgment, taste, and direction. Think of it like a building with Legos. AI gives you the pieces fast, but you are the one who decides what to build and whether it's worth finishing. Execution is where an idea finally leaves your head and enters the real world, and AI can accelerate it, but only if you are willing to commit. Here's the big shift to understand. Ideas aren't scarce anymore. With AI, everyone can generate brilliant ideas on demand. That used to be the hard part. Now it's the easy part. So the real differentiator isn't whether you have great ideas, it's whether you have the taste to pick the right one, the discernment to shape it, and the courage to execute it. That's why two people can use the exact same AI tool, type in the same prompt, and walk away with completely different outcomes. One ends up with a folder of half-finished notes, the other builds something that changes their life. The magic isn't in the 100 ideas AI gives you. The magic is in the one idea you commit to and make real. So here's the recap. AI gives you abundance. Your job is to filter for brilliance, pressure test your ideas, expand it into a plan, and execute until they are real. Because in the end, it's not about how many ideas you can generate, it's about one idea you commit to making unstoppable. If this gave you a new way of looking at AI and creativity, make sure to subscribe. I'm sharing more frameworks like this every week to help you go from vision to execution.